I'd like to talk a little bit about the role of stress in blood sugar because I don't think this is talked about enough, and I don't think it can be overemphasized because stress is just so pervasive. So, this is a sticky note I'm waving around because there's a couple of things, examples of where stress really is playing a role in people's blood sugar. And whether you're a provider looking at continuous glucose monitor data and working with patients, or you're an individual and looking at blood sugar and trying to figure out how to improve your health, I'm hoping that some of these examples also help you. So I want to be kind of concrete about my examples because I think that really helps. Because I look at continuous glucose monitor all day, every day, and trying to help people to improve their blood sugar levels. And as you know, we talk about the hacks. And so we're always looking is it diet? Are there hack diets ways we can hack? Should we improve exercise? What about sleep? What about stress? There's lots of different variables and medications that can impact blood sugar. And so the key is we always want to be focusing our efforts on the root cause, right? Because if a medication is causing your blood sugar to go up, there's only so much you're going to be able to do with your diet. You might need to switch medications, or something like that. Or if it's sleep, you need to address your sleep. So this is why it's important sometimes, like when we use a continuous glucose monitor, to rule some things out to decide what our strategies will be. And stress is tough because it's hard when someone says, even if they're right, if they say, you just need to relax some more and lower your stress. That is so unhelpful. It's hard to lower your stress, but there are concrete strategies that we can use. Otherwise, saying that is akin to saying, you just need to lose some weight and your blood sugar will be better. It's very unhelpful advice. So let's get specific here. So the first one I want to bring up, because I see it all the time, almost every day, is menopause. When women's hormones start to go down in the perimenopause phase, they seem to start losing their ability to adapt to stress as well as they could when their estrogen and progesterone levels were higher. So I see this a lot in women who are really high flyers, really productive. They're my people. Yeah. They used to be able to just go, burn the candle at both ends, crush it all day, go to bed, get up, rinse and repeat every day with impunity. Yeah. Get them over 40. Now it's hitting them. And their ability to deal with that stress, to adapt to it and get stronger, they're losing that. And that's when it becomes so important. That's what you'll see women saying, I can't lose weight. I put on this weight around my waist, or I can't sleep, or X and X. Often it's stress. And I see this in blood sugar data when I can see often that they're doing all the right things. Their blood sugar isn't fluctuating terribly, but I can see that their blood sugar levels are everything's just up a level and it's not coming down. And I don't see maybe their diet looks fine. They're not having a big glucose deviation from meals. That's when stress is usually my first thought after that these days. So always be thinking about that. If you're a woman and you're over 40, or, it could be over 35, perimenopause can start earlier. Do not underestimate stress. In fact, an example of this is I train a lot of, especially dietitians, how to use these continuous glucose monitors. And so often I'll have them, or, health coaches or nurse practitioners, use one themselves so that they can and show them how to interpret the data for themselves. And the first thing that happens, and not in everybody, but I'd say 90% of the dietitians that I train, they find their blood sugar is higher than you would expect from someone who is eating all the right things, doing all the right diet and lifestyle strategies. And their food doesn't cause a big bump when they eat because they're eating the right things, they know. But why isn't it going down below 100 or 110 even? And some of you know that I fondly refer to this as the dietitian syndrome, because overwhelmingly, nutrition professionals are very smart, very driven, very busy, often very type A. These are my people, kind of higher stress, higher strung, and they're the people who are go, and they naturally are under more stress, and things improve for them when they learn to manage their stress and toggle more into that parasympathetic state, that rest and digest state at appropriate times. So out of that, here's another instance where I see this pop up a lot. And I've changed my opinion on that over the years as I have more experience. And this is exercising in a fasted state. And everybody's different on how they respond to this. But it used to be when I first started looking at continuous glucose monitor data, I would see that some people, when they exercised, fasted, their blood sugar would go right up. And I thought, well, that's just natural. If you do intense exercise, you need more of that energy. So of course your liver is going to put out more glucose to fuel you. But, the more I looked at this, the more experience I got with that, I started to change my tune because, one, none of these people are like doing the Tour de France. It was intense-ish exercise, but it wasn't crazy. And also, and this was the kicker, it was someone last year who did my group program. And he was just doing, cycling up a hill like he would cycle to work. But when it was in the fasted state, his blood sugar would really go up. And when he did it fueled, when he ate sometime before doing this, his blood sugar would stay stable. Furthermore, we discovered that this person wasn't eating enough and that actually stress was a big factor for him. Not eating enough, getting overly hungry, overly stressed, and then kind of, how you eat because you didn't eat earlier and you should have eaten earlier. And the more I looked at him and the more I looked at other people, I realized, what's often happening is when your body is having to do all that because you haven't fueled it, it might be that the fasted exercise is actually adding to your cortisol bucket. Or adding to your stress bucket. And especially for people for whom stress is an issue, chronic stress is an issue, and we're trying to lower it, that fasted exercise, that's not helping them. So that's something we see and that's important to factor in. And that's something that's easy. We have a strategy, fueling your workouts. Another one, and this is a client, I'm mentoring somebody right now, a practitioner, and it's one of their clients. I've been looking at her client's CGM data. This is something with a lot of chronic fatigue. And this chronic fatigue is 100% lifestyle caused because we're seeing it reverse actually rather quickly now that we're fueling this person. They're not eating enough. And what's happening is it's a woman who is not eating in the morning, fasting, doing some exercise in the morning, and having coffee and maybe a little sugar, and they're not actually eating nutrients like protein until much later. So it's this fasting in the morning for a long time. And I've seen this in other people, fasting in the morning and having coffee. So it's like you're borrowing from your account and going into debt on energy before you fuel. And so I'm seeing that blood sugar can also go up sometimes, even on like black coffee, again, because it's kind of a stress response. It's not kind of a stress response. It's a stress response. But flipping that now, here's an easy take home, and hydrating, maybe with electrolytes, and then eating with protein, 20, 30 grams of protein, then having your coffee or your caffeine. Flipping that order makes a big difference for your blood sugar, and it's better for your blood sugar largely because it's better for your stress levels, better for your adrenal glands. And that's going to help lower your total stress burden, keep your stress levels down, and make you feel better the rest of the day. And finally, the last example on my sticky note here is, here's a pattern I'm seeing a lot. And this kind of goes back to the beginning, is I see a lot of people who are in the prediabetes range with their A1C. And I'm not even going to say they have prediabetes, because maybe they have an A1C of 5.7, 5.8, and now they're worried because we've said there's no pre-anything in prediabetes. But their triglycerides look good. Triglycerides are very indicative of elevated insulin levels. Things look good. They're, again, what they're eating isn't causing a big blood sugar rise. Their fasting insulin is fine. It's nice and low. But they're putting on weight around the middle. So that's a concern. Or thinking, is it metabolic syndrome? Is this prediabetes? And I see this person a lot. And then when I get to asking more and more, I find out very high stress. And this is someone I just met with last week. Very high stress job or lifestyle, family situation, maybe not sleeping very well. So this is one of those situations where you'll often see somebody, especially using a continuous glucose monitor on their own, seeing these numbers. And this is where I get people. They start fasting more, they go keto, and nothing wrong with keto as a strategy when it's appropriate, but this might not be necessary here. And exercising more. And frankly, and then sometimes it gets worse, and it gets worse because it's stress. It's maybe chronically elevated cortisol levels. And when you add in extra fasting, too much exercise, and just not eating enough, now you're making the stress worse. And if the stress and high cortisol, it's what's causing your slightly elevated blood sugar, then it's just going to go up more, right? So, we need tools for this. I know it's hard to lower your stress. This is something I struggle with as well. But there are strategies, concrete strategies to do this. There always have been. But the important thing to know is that starving yourself more, going zero carb, over exercising, those aren't the things that are going to solve the problem when it's stress. Okay. So stress and blood sugar, they go hand in hand. If you have erratic blood sugar, it will increase your cortisol levels. If something else increases your cortisol levels, it's going to cause insulin resistance, and it's going to cause your base, the whole blood sugar the whole graph to just kind of go up 5, 10, 15, 20 points, right? So they're intimately linked, and it's important to factor that in. So if you're a provider, especially if you're a nutrition provider looking into this, I really encourage you to factor stress in. And especially if you're using continuous glucose monitors, it's a great way to rule out all the other things and even test some of these stress reduction methods and see if they bring glucose down. Because I have seen naps, I have seen yoga, I have seen meditation bring glucose levels down when stress is a factor. And if you're an individual, take it seriously. Stress makes a big difference. Sometimes it could just be stress, and that's it. And there's something you can do about it. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I hope that was informative to you. And if you have any questions, in the description, if you're using a monitor, a CGM already, or you want to start using one because you're having blood sugar issues and you want help because you've been spinning your wheels, please book a free call with me. We can see if I have some services that would help you. I would love to help you get this figured out.